I would assume we're live. Okay. Hello, everybody watching. Welcome to the first episode of 2020, The Classic Quarantine. I'm your host, Ashleigh Lawless. Thank you so much for tuning in. And this is my guest, Emily. Emily, how are you doing?
Okay. Tired?
Yeah, very tired. Trying to keep busy during quarantine, I guess. So let's see. Would you like to say a few words about yourself, about your senior year?
Sure. So obviously I'm a senior at Azer High School. Just about what I've done and what I'm part of at the school. I've been a part of drama club since middle school. I was one of the proof and style editors for the yearbook. So basically I proofread the entire thing. What else have I done? I'm an officer for the Foreign Language Honor Society. And I was gonna found a poetry club, which had just started in the semester when the quarantine breakout happened. So sadly, didn't get to do much with that. But that's basically me.
I remember almost joining poetry club, so hopefully the underclassmen will keep it going, keep it alive, hopefully. So today Emily's here to talk about living in a big house in a quarantine, because obviously these past few months have been rough as is, and personally I can't imagine living with a house with more than 4 people. I mean, let alone 7. I know Emily has about 7 people in her house at all times. So would you want to briefly explain what your house dynamic is like, how your family kind of dynamic is?
Right. So obviously it's well, not obviously, but there's my mom and dad, and then there's my older brother who has his girlfriend living with us. So that's 4 right there. And then it's me and my younger brother, but also my best friend has been living with us since about 2 years ago. And on top of the 7 people, there's 2 cats and a dog. So
Yep, a lot of mouths to feed. I definitely consider your house a very, colorful house in terms of there's something always going on. And so I guess we can get right into it. So how have stressors from this pandemic affected your family's routines? Has it stressed anybody out?
routines, I think the biggest thing that's been affected is how we go grocery shopping, because usually we'll do like once a week kind of stuff. But now it's like it's almost, we try not to go as much, but there's so many things that we just keep running out of. So we'll get up, they'll be like, my parents will get up around 6 a.m. and they'll be in the stores by whenever they open up, like 7 a.m. and they'll take what they can and they'll still miss stuff. So it's kind of crazy trying to squeeze that in, and then by the time they get back around 9:30, we're all up trying to clear out the car and stacking stuff in the basement and stuff like that.
6 a.m. That's dedication. I don't think my parents could do that. And I know your parents are big cooks too. So is there constantly, has it been that been limiting at all, since they can't get everything they need all the time?
It's more that they cook more.
Really?
Because they're takeout is fine, but they're always a little bit worried about, the what ifs. And so they have like an itinerary of meals that they do, and they plan them weeks prior, and they'll set up like Monday meatloaf or steak teriyaki Tuesday, and like it keeps going. Like they're, and each like side is kind of like, they try to have something a little bit for everyone, and there's 7 of us, so these meals get pretty big. And then obviously leftovers for the dog.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd assume it'd probably get expensive too, just because, constantly cooking and cleaning, etc.
Grocery bills, everything can reach well up in those triple digits. I don't ask the exact amount, but I've heard them complain about it, and it's not a fun amount to want to spend every time you go grocery shopping.
Oh yeah, especially because, I mean, on top of that expense, just going to the supermarket in general, I know anyways, it was like an apocalypse almost. I know that my dad described it as, quote, going on a mission. So,
Yeah.
it's constantly just, I guess, an uphill battle.
For
Is how
sure.
I best describe it.
My parents
Um, oh, sorry. You go
Uh,
ahead.
just adding on to that, how tough it is. My parents are lucky, and they know some people who own like local restaurants and stuff. And sometimes they'll actually get groceries from for certain like dinners from those people, or
Oh,
like they'll
awesome.
have them, and then like we'll buy them from. It's like a whole thing.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So, have there been any times or like stressors that have made living at home tense? And if so, like how have you gotten through those times? Because I know it's super hard and can be a little bit explosive, especially when you're so close together all the time.
I I think just being trapped with each other all the time. I mean, we try to have these family dinners every night, and they can just get, you know, a little tense with everyone because we're all, you know, trapped together, and we're pretty strict where we're not really allowed to go out too much unless you're gonna go like in the yard or something. And m- moreover, um, another like I guess tenseness can be like we're so since we have these nice dinners, we're always on our own for lunch, but you'll catch like the young ones, the younglings, anyone who's not my parents sleeping until like 4 p.m.
Oh my
and
God.
it all causes a bit of tension when we're skipping lunch and eating ramen at 1 a.m. So
Yeah, especially because 6 a.m. and 4 p.m. is a huge difference. So, there's probably somebody always awake. So how have you like gotten through those times even though they might get tense? Like is there any specific thing you guys do? Do you just give each other some space?
I think we try to. We're fortunate enough where, you know, our house is um, enough to kind of settle all of us comfortably. So we all can go to our own areas. But even so, sometimes it's still a bit suffocating. Even if we resort back to our rooms, it's still like that tension's still there. But that's really all we do. And for me personally, I'll just put on, TV and try to like just escape that way and relax or read or just do some homework or something.
Yeah, just keep yourself busy. That's probably the same thing I do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I'm always kind of doing something, if not napping.
Exactly. So how have your family members been coping?
That's an interesting one. I feel like the boys have just been playing video games, and Evan was in college and Colin's a sophomore. My two brothers, so they're not missing the same thing that the class of 2020 is. So they're not as like worried about it. You know what I mean? I mean they're worried about the wellness of the country, but they're not really like distraught over the fact that they're losing school. So they've been just relaxing and stuff. And then there's me and Christina who we we tend to cope by just sometimes we'll talk about it and we're not super upset because we're just really excited to move on to the next phase. This feels like it's kind of holding us back from moving on. I feel like because it's not that closure,
Mhm.
but it doesn't upset me that I'm not getting it because I'd rather be safe. But uh, we just cope by just kind of talking about things, and she'll be in her room just like um, probably doing the same thing as me, watching TV and stuff. And my parents are just cooking constantly. So
Oh yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention or have you, state where are you going to college next year and what are you majoring in?
I am going to the University of Rhode Island. I wanted to stay in New England because I am double majoring in secondary education and English with a minor in French. And basically, what that means is that I want to be a high school English teacher, and I want to come back to Mass. I did want to kind of branch out though and study at a different college, but I do want to get my Massachusetts licensure. So that'll be a little complicated, but I'm really excited to minor in French and stuff because I want to study abroad in college and just take advantage of those opportunities. Stuff like that. So busy.
I know, busy, busy, and that's definitely unlike me because I love New England, but I'm so excited to move out. I'm going to LA in August, as you know. And I know, oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Sorry. Did you want to stay like around Amesbury, like this area when you come back from
Yeah,
college and all that?
I think it'd be really, um, nostalgic if I came back and I got to work at Amesbury High School. I think that would just be insane. And maybe maybe I could. I'm not sure how much I'd want to revisit it. I love Amesbury High School. I really do appreciate what they do for us there, because they do a lot, and you realize that now that we've been out, like, and we're doing these online classes, they do a lot for us.
Mhm.
But it's all based off job opportunities, because being a teacher can be kind of tough, especially keeping these jobs, because they'll give you contracts, and then like it's cheaper to keep hiring new teachers than keep the same ones. So it's really based off of opportunity at that point. But Massachusetts does pay well or better for teachers compared to other states, and that's kind of, and I just like the Massachusetts education system. So I just kind of want to stay in here, but I don't know if Amesbury's the one I'll end up at.
Yeah, awesome. Um, so, oh, this is going back to your family members. Has there been any like kind of spontaneous or out of the ordinary thing that any of your parents have used to cope?
Oh, Mother's Day. We went on a sightseeing drive. So 7 of us were piled into the Highlander, and we just drove around. We drove by a wolf farm that exists.
Oh,
It
wow.
I That was the most spontaneous thing I think we've done, but it was also the most painstaking thing I think we've done. All 7 of us in a car, looking out a window to see a couple things. That
Uh,
was the big adventure.
yeah, I've definitely gone on a lot of drives myself. I just want to interrupt this real quick. So for viewers, it looks like the TV broadcast is having a few issues. So if you want to hop onto the Port Media YouTube stream, it's streaming live there as well. So you can watch it probably in better quality and without any, issues. But yeah, I think I've gone on my fair share of drives. I can't even count how many I've gone through just because I needed to get out of the house, so I would just keep going. But you find yourself in weird places, I guess. I don't know if a
Yeah,
wolf I've ever been there, but
I don't even know where we were. I think we are in Rowley.
I have no idea. All right. So I know you mentioned earlier that Christina is another member of the class of 2020. Um, is she? I know you've kind of mentioned a little bit how she's like coping. Are you brought together by this a little bit more, or like do you have different views on this?
I think we're kind of in the same boat where, I mean, we appreciate the high school, but it and we'll always, love this time. I mean, this is, the prime of our lives kind of thing. But we're both just really ready to get out of here and start, a new adventure. And I don't want to speak for her too much, but I think she's planning on going to Lesley University to study psychology, and she's just really excited to um, start her new career and go to the city. She's really excited because there's a ramen bar nearby. um, and I think, just looking back, I mean, this is stuff we've been looking forward to since we were freshmen, and like you've heard stories about it, and we both had Evan who had gone through this and had so much fun doing class trip and just graduating. um but it doesn't neither of us have cried yet, so I feel like that's a good start for
Yeah,
both of us.
definitely. Yeah, I feel the same way. I've been, bummed out about it, but it's not something that I've gotten so worked up over.
Mhm.
And we're gonna go through college graduation, so there's always that to look forward to, and going to college in general. So, I mean,
Yeah.
ramen bar seems pretty good.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. There's so many new beginnings ahead, and I don't really want to focus on the things I never got because I did get so much out of Amesbury just as is, and I appreciate that enough where it's okay if they don't hand me my diploma in person and just mail it to me or something.
Yeah. And I've been thinking about this a lot too. We did have the first half of the year too, so there's a lot of that, especially like the rallies and stuff where it brings
Oh
the whole
yeah.
school together. I'm hoping that things go to plan in the fall, and I hope that the class of 2021 can experience that too, because
Mm.
it's such a big thing. I don't know like which I'd rather, because they're all, it's a great experience overall. But that's something that I've always cherished. And like my last rally, my last um Thanksgiving rally, where they have you have the big skit, and dressing up as a senior for Halloween. So yeah.
Drama club.
um yeah. So also I wanted to mention that I know your birthday is coming up this Sunday and you're turning 18, so some big adult stuff going on. How do you plan on celebrating, even though, you have to remain at home?
Um, it's been a pretty like strict year, so I'm thinking of inviting maybe 2 to 3 friends to sit really far apart around a fire, just so we can talk. It's kind of like the things where you see, seniors in the parking lot with their cars, but obviously around a fire pit. Um, I wanted to do the best I can to keep everyone safe, but this and Christina just had her birthday last month, and she wasn't able to have anyone over because it was April and things were picking up. Um, but you know, this is a big birthday you always kind of look forward to. I mean, it it can be disappointing, but at the same time, I'm perfectly okay with just having little to no birthday, like because there's always going to be another day, and I'll see my friends another time. Um, yeah, I think younger me would be definitely disappointed, but I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And there's always, once stuff starts opening back up, you can always celebrate then too.
I was thinking maybe before we go to college to have just when restaurants open up, just have like everyone who missed their birthday didn't get to celebrate at just one giant birthday dinner or something.
Yeah.
But you can hope.
And speaking of things that have gone, besides graduation, I know that you've gotten your prom dress, and obviously I have mine too. Very expensive dresses that sit in the closet. How have you not coped, but dealt with not being able to have a senior prom? Has there been any unique ways that you've still honored the dress and the day?
I mean, I've taken videos of myself in the dress to feel like I actually got to wear it. But I've just been, I know we've talked about it before, but I was just hoping that maybe one day we can have our own little dance somehow, the masquerade masks. So I just, I just cling on to some hope that I'll be able to wear it somewhere is mostly it. And I do try it on sometimes if like May 1st when prom was supposed to be, I had to try it on because I really do love my dress this year. But we did have it last year. Um, so we were fortunate enough to been able to go on at least once. But you buy the dress and you're like, shoot. uh,
Exactly. Yeah. I know. I remember as soon as I figured out, we were going on this big lockdown, my dress was just staring at me from the closet, and I was just like, oh my God. But like you said, I do hope that we can still honor the day and get all dressed up, because that's the whole fun of it. And I'm sure we'll be able to, honor that day still in some sense, I guess.
yeah.
Um, so this kind of goes back to your family, and I know you kind of said you um, kind of give yourself some space if you need to, but overall, have you grown a little bit more distant, or a little bit like more, or closer, I should say, as a whole?
I think, well, me and Christina have been, we've been best friends since second grade. So, but we definitely talked and hung out more when she's a family, but she's also my best friend. So it's basically been like sleepovers galore. And I think with my brothers, like especially on that car ride, we were all next to each other, squeezing the Highlander, so physically closer, and we just laughed a lot. So I would say a little bit, but and but I've also been like Evan's girlfriend's here too, so we've obviously been hanging out with her a lot. So we've been closer with her. I showed her the Hunger Games, so that was interesting. She'd never seen it, and I was like, "What?"
Oh wow. Yeah, that's definitely like a great way to cope. I agree. And I would assume it probably fluctuates from here and there because you're not going to be constantly, on top of each other. But
No, yeah,
overall, being closer is probably, I would assume, would end up happening just because, close proximity all the time, like you said.
yeah. I think we're just deprived of social.
Yeah. So despite being in such a big household, I know you said you mentioned TV and reading and stuff, but how have like have there been, oh my God, I can't talk. Have there been any more like specifics that you've gone into, maybe old hobbies, and has it been hard to get back into those just because of, days blending into each other?
Yeah, I've been trying to read. I have Jane Eyre and two Stephen King books, just begging to be read. And I started Jane Eyre. Um, I've been meaning to get back into just writing my poetry because um, my one of my teachers, Miss Brockmeyer, one of the things was that she thought would be cool or interesting is if we wrote journals about how we feel, because sometimes I don't necessarily I can't really fathom that this is really happening. I know it. I'm always inside. I know it, but at the same time, like it's crazy that we're in a pandemic, and so she thinks it's kind of important to write down how we feel about it. And since I haven't been able to really kind of understand it or like have it impact me in such a way where I'm distraught, I haven't like had that need to write it out. But I feel like that would be a good way to jump back into my poetry if I dive into those feelings a little bit. But I haven't, that takes effort. And I've just been feeling so lethargic and I feel so lazy all the time. And I think it's because, there's not a lot of drive to do stuff when there's nothing really going on or to drive for. I mean, I'm in college already. I have a roommate. It's like I'm so ready to just go on, and it's just there's nothing else to look forward to, it feels like. But
Yeah, I definitely get that. I mean, I have a series on Instagram and I've been meaning to start one for senior year in the class of 2020 with all the footage I had gotten, but I just haven't, been able to motivate myself to do it. And it's always
yeah,
been in my mind. But I mean, there's only so much you can do, especially when you've been, sitting in your house for almost 2 months now.
yeah, oh yeah, it doesn't. I heard a joke recently that it's not actually May and it's just like the 67th day of March, and it's just been because it doesn't even feel like my birthday is coming up this Sunday. Like it,
I know. Same thing with the snow the other day. I mean,
oh my god.
it definitely doesn't feel like spring at all. And I think not being able to enjoy the nice weather that does come also has kind of been throwing everybody off too.
For sure.
So I know, on top of living at home all the time, schoolwork with, the Google Meets, and I know you're in AP Lit. Has it been hard to focus? I know you said you're feeling a little bit lethargic on those. I know you took the AP test yesterday. Has it just been a little difficult to keep yourself on track?
Yes, I think, as you mentioned before, it's just a lack of motivation at this point. And especially now that I finished the AP test, there's not much left for the curriculum in that class specifically. I mean, we can still talk and do stuff, but it just feels like I feel done. I feel like I finished. I feel like I could graduate tomorrow, but yeah, and especially it's really stinks because I really appreciate the teachers working hard and trying to do the best they can, but I just, for some reason, I just can't. I'm doing my work, but it's not at the pace or the standard it usually would be. And it stinks because I was really excited for some of these classes. I was excited to take another French class and just get my bearings before I go to college. And then I was really excited to take my psych class because I didn't get to take too many electives throughout my high school career. I focused a lot on the academics, and this is supposed to be a time where I got to explore that kind of stuff. So I'm really upset because I love these teachers too, and I wish that I could get myself back into that this is school mindset, but it's just it's tough just seeing an assignment in Google Classroom, and you do it, you fail, you do it, you pass, you don't do it, you fail. So and I'm gonna be a teacher too, so I feel like I should be more into it, but this is just such a tough way to learn. I don't get how people could actually learn new subjects this way.
Mhm. No, I totally agree. I mean, I have one class on Friday mornings at 9, and even that's hard to like bring myself up to get to. But I mean, I do appreciate everything these teachers are doing. It's such a learning curve, I think, for everybody.
Yep.
And not being in the school physically, I think, takes a lot of people out of their element because sitting in the classroom, being able to take a test without any distractions
Yeah.
with a group of people who are also doing the same thing, I think, it takes away a lot of that learning experience and just the academic success in general, just because it's not like you can see results right then and there, or you can hold a tangible piece of paper all the time
Yeah.
instead of just like an assignment on Google Classroom that isn't really talked about, in person.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm such a stickler, I guess, for like getting my work on paper and like being able to like physically do them. It like, just the fact of writing things out helps me remember better. And then doing these assignments, especially my math class, it's just been so difficult for me as someone who needs like these physical aspects to remember. It like just even just like the smell of a classroom can actually like, like further like I don't know, strengthen your memory with that certain subject. It's it's just been so trial and error, and I know that the administration has been working so hard, but gosh, does it stink? It stings.
I know. I personally too. Like I mean, math isn't my strong suit at all, but being in person with Miss Regis, the teacher I had, she, was able to help me in person at the time, like seconds after I had a question, and other students were also able to ask questions in person and instantly be able to figure out, what's going on. So if I didn't have that, I don't know if I would even be successful in that class, just because, especially, I was in calculus too, so it's such a, material heavy, prerequisite heavy kind of class. So I don't even know how I would survive in that class during this semester.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so let's see. I think that's just about it. Do you have any, final statements or anything you'd like to share with the audience?
If any of the class of 2020 is listening, um, I'm just so proud of everyone. And, we did make it and we did get this far. And this isn't going to stop us because we are such a resilient class. And this isn't, this is the end. But at the same time, it's not, because we're going to be so fortunate and move on and get to start probably one of the best times of our lives as we grow up and we find ourselves and we become who we're kind of meant to be. So I just don't fret too much about losing, the trip or the dinner dance, because in the end we had so much time together, especially growing up in a small town, and even the new people, they got to join us and we all became like this big town family. So just don't worry, and I think we'll still have this strong connection with the memories that we did make. So I think,
Um, yeah, I definitely agree with that too. Not getting the recognition we deserve obviously is not great, but that doesn't mean none of us will be successful. I'm sure everybody will find their path. And I know it's hard, as well, like you were saying, not being able to get that proper goodbye and that closure with the whole class. It's awful as well, but I'm sure everybody, especially because Amesbury is such a close-knit town, I think everybody will be able to properly say their goodbyes before they go off to college and will stay connected throughout. So I definitely agree with, not worrying and just being able to look forward to the future instead of staying so stuck in the past, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's just about it. Thank you so much, Emily, for, being on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you to all the viewers who've been listening to our story. I know that this will probably be on the Port Media YouTube, as well as the SoundCloud as a, file. But I think other than that, I don't have anything else to add. So again, thank you, Emily, and I'll see you guys next week with another interview. Thank you so much. Bye.